This week we're starting in St John's, the capital of Newfoundland and Labrador.
We're Sarah and Ben. Welcome back to Diamonds on Tour. This is the tomb of the unknown soldier who fell during the First World War, and he was brought home. He's been brought home quite recently, I think. Yeah. So that's a memoriam to him, and over here it's to all the soldiers, men and women that served in whatever during all the wars that Canada's been involved in, the earliest being the 1812, 1815, and the most recent I can see is Afghanistan. We've actually just found out the memorial that we've just shown you was opened as early as 1924, so after the First World War, and the plaques have gone on afterwards for all the subsequent wars. Okay. Lovely bronze statue of the dog that I knew to be obviously part of this place, the Newfoundland, or Newfoundland as we now know to call it. So we know about him. We met a beautiful dog called Lily the other day. She was just gorgeous, and it just never dawned on me that of course the Labrador the lab that we see so many of in the UK, golden and brown and everything. Yeah, the Labrador comes from this province. Well, that's where they originate from, Newfoundland and Labrador. Do you know, it's easy to forget where we are, but we've just seen a photograph showing this harbour entrance with an iceberg floating past.
Sarah?
Yeah?
Should we see if there's any pubs open?
Let's go and see if there's a pub open, Ben.
Come on then.
I think we deserve it, you know.
Yeah, I think we do.
Yeah.
Doing all this history, it's thirsty work.
Yeah, it is thirsty work. You know a place has serious weather when you need kit like this on your car park to keep it clear of snow in the winter. This is Signal Hill, it's called, and we are right at the top of the city. And what a phenomenal view they have on all sides of this mount.
It's very cool up here at Signal Hill, but it's also very, very windy. Very windy indeed. But what a view this is of the city of St John's. The harbour down here, you probably can't hear a word of this, but this is the entrance to the harbour. See how well protected it is. That's, oh right, I think we need to go somewhere else.
Right, we've come back into the van now because it is so windy out there that you probably won't be able to hear a word that we've been saying. But this site, Signal Hill, is so named because this was the site where the very first ever transatlantic radio signal was received by Marconi. He held his aerial up in the sky on a kite, and the signal was transmitted all the way from Cornwall over in England, on the southwest coast of England. And what's quite cool is that we've actually visited the location where that signal was sent from. There was also a transatlantic communications cable that was from Cornwall to this part of Canada. So yeah, really pioneering stuff. The future of communications all started in this spot.
Just down the road from Signal Hill is the Geo Centre. This is a museum of the geology in this region and has many fascinating displays and interactive exhibits that explain so much of this part of the natural world.
Yeah.
So that represents, all those grains of sand represent, each grain of sand is a year. So that's the lifetime of the earth. Yeah. And then this is about a number of years since dinosaurs have been extinct. And then level that out. And then the next one is a number of years since Signal Hill was last covered by glaciers. And then this one is a grain of sand 1 year, average length of human life. It's incredible, isn't it? What are you doing, Ben?
Spraying water.
Why?
Because it says here that you should do it.
Oh, and what does it do?
Reveals things in the rock.
Ah, I see. Yes, I can imagine children really enjoying this bit.
This was the first one I did before mine. Yeah. Much beautiful place to work.
It is, isn't it?
That was Quidi Vidi. What a beautiful place, just 5 minutes outside St John's.
Really super. We went over to Quidi Vidi brewery for lunch, and a couple of pints, of course, of their finest, which was lovely. And then we've had a really peaceful night. And the sun is shining, everybody, and it's just gone 9 o'clock in the morning, and it's already 5 degrees, and it promises to be sunny all day. Yay!
Fantastic.
I'm sure everybody is delighted with that. And now today we're off to a bird sanctuary, which is about a 2-hour drive away.
Quidi Vidi Lake.
Quidi Vidi Lake.
How lovely is that?
It's a nice walk around it.
Yeah. Some beautiful hikes around here.
Yeah. There we
Really
go.
cool.
Well,
So 5 minutes and we're going to call into Walmart because one snag we've had so far is we don't have a Canadian telephone number. So we're going to get ourselves a burner phone. Is that the right phrase?
if we were drug dealers, it'd be the right phrase.
We're going to get ourselves a little phone with
pay-as-you-go SIM.
Yeah, just so that we can have a contact number here.
Yeah.
That was found because we got some breakdown insurance yesterday from Canadian Tire, and they require us to have a Canadian telephone number to register the account. And it's dead useful to have anyway. It's weird, isn't it? How times move. You used to have a good phone but struggle for data. Now we've got absolutely more data than we could possibly use, but no traditional phone to speak to people with words.
Such a problem.
Anyway, we're going to sort that out, and you'll see us later on the road at the bird place. Now, just coming up here as we leave St John's, here on the very, very extreme eastern tip of the North American continent, really, not just Canada. We're starting the TCH, the Trans-Canada Highway. So this is mile 0 of the 4,800 odd mile long road all the way to Vancouver Island, over on the west coast of Canada. We're very close to 4 weeks in, aren't we now?
Yeah.
And we've currently covered 1,827 miles. So, yeah, there you go. We're on the road west now.
We actually did pick our van up 4 weeks today.
4 weeks today, perfect, yeah. Right, we have successfully got ourselves a Canadian phone number. We didn't need to buy a burner phone in the end, we just got a SIM card. It's costing just over $20 Canadian dollars a month, which is about £11 British pounds per month. So that's all good. Works all over Canada, so they tell us, and should get us connected. Now we're back on the TCH, heading south towards the wildlife that we want to see today. That should be exciting. Cape St Mary's is an ecological reserve and a special place for nesting seabirds. There are many of these northern gannets which come here to breed each year after spending the winter off the Atlantic coast of the US, with juveniles and some of the adults wintering in the Gulf of Mexico. This is their courtship behaviour when the couple, who stay together for life, are getting reacquainted with each other after their migration.
With my friends, the Browns and the Clarys, let me fish off Cape St. Mary's. Let me feel my dory lift to the broad Atlantic combers, where the tide rips swirl and the wild doves whirl.
These birds are common moor. You may think, as I did, that the white ring and line around one bird's eye signifies the male from the female. In fact, this is a morph, and with or without this marking, which is known as a bridle, they are exactly the same species and can be either male or female. So you may see couples where both or neither of them has this marking, or in this case one has and the other has not.
From the thunder squall, when I hauled me troll, and my old Cape Anna gleamin', with my oilskins all a-streamin', let me view that rugged shore, where the beaches all glisten, where the capelin spun, where from dusk to dawn you bait your trawl and listen to the undertow a-hissin'. Where the wild sands roll to the surge's toe. Let me be a man and take it when my dory fails to make the seas roll up their thunder. There let me rest in the earth's cool breast, where the stars shine out their wonder, and the seas roll up their thunder. Take me back to my western home. Let me fish off Cape St. Mary's, where the hag down sail and the foghorns wail with my friends.
This song is very well known in this area and has special meaning for many people here. The writer, Otto P. Kelland, is being inducted into the Canadian Songwriters Hall of Fame in May this year, and his grandson, Bob, has given us permission to use this song here. Thanks, Bob. That was the Cape St. Mary Ecological Centre, and what a fabulous place that was.
I think it was it was gobsmacking, really. You know those moments when things just take your breath away?
Yeah.
It was just so special. And we could hear it from the noise of the birds from a long way off, and we could obviously see the white dots, but when you get right there, and you are literally right in them, aren't you?
Yeah, absolutely.
Just amazing.
I mean, this is so apparently the most accessible bird colony like that in the whole of North America. I think it's the most southerly place where the northern gannet, which was those birds,
was one of the birds
where they nest, and something like the third biggest colony like that in the whole of North America.
I think
it was something like that. So what a special place. So cool to be able to see such fabulous animals at such close quarters and be able to get a few nice shots.
Yes.
That's spectacular, the coastline over there.
Yeah, that's beautiful, isn't it? Okay, let's get this out of the way first. This town has a funny name. Dildo is also a very beautiful town here on the northwest coast of the Avalon Peninsula of Newfoundland. It was publicised by a man called Jimmy Kimmel, who is apparently on the television in the USA. He installed a Hollywood-style sign above the village proclaiming its name for all to see. site is called the Dungeon, and we can see why it's called that with the big sort of well, it looks like a massive sinkhole, but it probably happened absolutely millions of years ago or something. And we've got 2 caves that go out to sea. Rather lovely. This sign tells me that the Dungeon is actually a collapsed sea cave known as a gloop, and has its origin as a cavern with 2 separate openings to the sea, and then continuing erosion led to the widening of the cavern until eventually the roof collapsed inwards, and then the rock material was slowly removed from the collapse by wave action. And they think that one day that the 2 arches will likely collapse. We were incredibly lucky to see an iceberg from Bonavista. It's amazing that they come past here, because at 48 degrees north, this is around 130 miles further south than Land's End in Cornwall, and we've never seen an iceberg there.
Well, the weather's taken a little bit of a turn from the glorious sunshine and 15 degrees Celsius that we had yesterday. It's now 1.5 degrees outside and not as dry as it was yesterday. Now we are on the way down the Trans-Canada Highway down towards the ferry terminal, so in a couple of days we're planning to get back over to Nova Scotia. But last night we spent a night at Gander, which is quite a big town, sort of more or less in the middle of Newfoundland, because on this highway yesterday afternoon I was getting a warning on the dashboard of ABS fault, visit workshop, ESP fault, and the cruise control stopped working, which obviously uses the speed sensors to inform that system. So we've got a problem with an ABS sensor, which may of course be a wheel bearing problem. So we thought, rather than carrying down with a fault like that on the highway, we'll get it looked at. So we stayed just in the city on a Walmart car park last night, because we'd found a garage just around the corner from there that we went to as it opened this morning. We're there at 8 o'clock this morning, and very, very good guy there, Brad. Thanks, Brad. Had a look over, plugged in the diagnostics, and confirmed that the left hand speed sensor in the wheel was potentially faulty. Either the sensor or could be the wheel bearing pushing it out. So he then looked for parts and found that the wheel bearing is not available anywhere in Canada or even the US. So that's a bit of a snag. But he gave it the once over and confirmed there's nothing majorly wrong with it. There's no play in the wheel bearing that you can detect manually. So it's safe to carry on driving. Actually, we've been driving for over an hour today and there's no faults on the dashboard at all. So it may have been something intermittent, maybe driving on very rough road yesterday, threw something out for a little while. But at the moment, fingers crossed, we're doing okay, and we do have a contingency plan for a Mercedes dealership over in New Brunswick, which is where we'll be in 2 weeks' time. Can have a look at it and at least replace the wheel sensor. So that's the plan. Still carrying on. It's part of our world tour of Mercedes garages, having toured most of the Mercedes garages in Norway when our windscreen wipers stopped working this time last year. We're now touring garages in Canada to look for front left-hand wheel bearings. So that's the update for today. Yeah, I think Newfoundland has been really tremendous. It's a very, very large island. I'll show you now on the map the comparison with the British Isles, you see it's about the same size as the island of Ireland. So it is sizable, takes a little while to get around, but as Sarah mentioned, this road is pretty fabulous. There's all the way along this road, obviously the side roads take you off up the various peninsulas or across the island to other places, and they're all pretty good. We're going to have a conversation about roads at a later date. But yeah, it's a fabulous place. I am disappointed that we didn't make it to Grossmorn and up that western peninsula up to Iceberg Alley, which is at the very top of that western peninsula. But as we mentioned earlier, the weather was coming in. There was probably 15 centimetres of snow last night that would have made it really difficult to get up there. So rather than taking any risks early on in this trip, we thought, no, let's just stick with the roads that we can rely on and not push the boundaries too much. And there's lots and lots more to see across the rest of Canada. So back on the ferry tomorrow morning, Nova Scotia, and across to Prince Edward Island very, very soon.
There's a storm coming, and I need a hand to hold, with the fear of being here on my own, where the wind's blowing and the leaves they turn to gold, like they did with you those summers ago.
Well, we're leaving this park up with the beautiful mountains alongside us. This is just 20 minutes or so from the ferry terminal at Porto Basque, but we've had a rocky night. The van was rocking in the night, and that's not what I mean. Yeah, there's a severe weather warning coming and high winds with potential gusts up to 110 kilometres an hour, which is near enough 70 miles an hour.
It's particularly this area that we're in now and to the port, isn't it?
This precise spot is called Wreckhouse. I don't know whether that's because the wind wrecks your house, but I wouldn't be surprised given the way so many place names are quite literal over here.
Yeah, they are.
So we've spoken to the ferry company, and they've told us that the ferries are fully booked for the next 2 days. We were considering whether we could just book onto the later one and sit out this wind, but we've decided, because the road has got a lot of vehicles on it, some of which are high-sided and vans and so on, so we reckon that we'll give it a go. Yeah, so far, first 100 yards, and we haven't tipped over yet.
Oh God.
It is very, very windy though. I'm steering quite a long way left just to keep in a straight line. So the woman at the ferry terminal said it's not windy at Porto Basque, which is only 10 miles down the road. So fingers crossed. This is just this little section.
I'm holding the door handle, I don't know why. It's not doing any good at all.
Yeah, quite exciting. Do you remember in a couple of videos ago I said that phrase, do something every day that scares you a little bit? Well, this sort of thing really can focus the mind. We can see the ship just over there. So, fairly hairy 20-minute drive that. But we got here. There's a lot of lorries here.
Yes, I think.
Which I think have come off the last ferry and are sitting here waiting for it to calm down. And I do not blame them one bit.
I'm with the Canadian Food Inspection Agency.
Yeah, yeah.
Hello.
We inspect the vehicles at
Now remembering is all I know. There's a storm coming, summer's just around the bend, and my bottle's empty once again, and my feet's burning on the roads we used to walk, where the rivers walked along.
Good morning. We do.
Perfect.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very
indeed.
much.
Thanks. Bye.
I can't stop thinking about those years ago, when sleeping next to you was you.
After being checked for potatoes, carrots and soil by the very nice man from the Canadian Food Inspection Agency, we were able to board the ferry back to Nova Scotia. We're going to leave this video here, and we'll see you next week when we're travelling towards Prince Edward Island.
When sleeping next to you was usual, I'd rather spend a life.
Thanks for watching. Please smash the like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and we love to see your comments as well. See you next week.
Now remembering is all I know.